Say your name for me again.
Festelaritas.
Festelaritas. And did the last beat. And I want to call you Dennis. I'm so sorry. Kramer. Kramer Herzog, who directed The World of Dennis Patton. Dennis John Patton. Excuse me. And Nicholas Dobkin, who did Cannon Rock. So, like I said, it was going to be a ride. There's plenty of different material, documentaries that we saw, as well as animations and spiritual films and political statement films. With Tanan Torabi, the director who did Invisible Point, the ballet piece that we saw from Iran. A lot of different things. So you have to be the judge. You got your voting thing. So good luck to you all. As you leave, please put your ballot on the desk of the box office there, and we will tally them up, and we will make the announcement later on this week. But we're going to get going on our discussion first. So I want to just first kind of go down the line, and we'll start maybe with Michael. Is it Mike or Michael?
Either's fine.
Either's fine. All right. What was the impetus for the Great Accountant? I mean, how did that all come to play? Are you a musician yourself? Is that a world that you come from?
No, I mean I hack away at the piano, but I'm not.
All right.
A musician per se. Well, I've been working on a script for two friends of mine, two actors that were married, and I kind of had like a loose idea, but no real. It was very sketchy. And one day I was listening to an author on the radio named Jacob Saul, who was discussing this book he had written called The Reckoning, which is basically a history of double entry accounting and its influence on Western civilization. And he draws a line between accounting and also our kind of the general kind of moral template that a lot of us live by in terms of sin and absolution and being in debt and also being kind of in the black. And that was kind of for whatever reason, that just struck a chord with me when I heard that, and that started to give me the idea for the story. And then also as well, it's kind of loosely, if kind of basic understanding of Greek mythology, it's loosely based on Orpheus as well, in terms of a couple kind of descending into hell together.
Yes.
So those were the two touchstones, I would say, kind of inspirations for it.
Wow. It was beautifully shot, by the way. I enjoyed that immensely.
Thank you.
Yes. I think we'll go right down the line of everyone, and then we will open it up for questions. So hang on, everybody. Go ahead, Paul. Paul did last beat. How did you get started? What was your impetus?
Well, there's a lot of inspiration with music, and I played violin for 9 years. It started when I was 5, and that really kind of struck a chord with me. So I wanted to make a classically, almost like a musical piece, but I also had this war idea in mind, and I decided to kind of put them both together and shoot them in different time periods and have the music kind of be the script for the movie. Right. That was the main inspiration behind it.
I want to ask you, because the moment that I really enjoyed in it, I don't know war films at all. I don't watch a lot of them, and I don't know if you were paying an homage to a war film, or is this just something that you came up with yourself, but the death of the soldier, when he was dying, and like in The Godfather, and they do an homage to The Godfather, you'll see a bag of oranges kind of rolling, or steps of Odessa sequence. You'll always
it's kind
see
of the same idea.
Oh yeah, okay. So the canteen, when the soldier's dying, you see the canteen spilling out and dying. Was that from another film, or was that something all you?
No. I wanted to show the violence at first, but then kind of have it. You see it psychologically. With the pouring out, almost like he's dying out. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way we shot that. But I was inspired by almost The Godfather, you could say, with that.
Okay. It was very well done. I enjoyed that moment. we'll come back to questions on him. Go, Kramer, and how did you, I mean, I know from reading from the write-up on it, you know, you were driving by that statue all these years, and you're like, how did you go about meeting him? And what was really your first impression of him, if I may ask?
Yes, I drove by for 30 years and looked at the statue and always wondered who made this. And then I read in the paper the man that made that statue and in that town and another town was going to talk. And I thought, well, maybe that'd be interesting. I can find out who this man is. So I went out there and I brought a camera, and I didn't, the sound wasn't good and so forth, so I just rolled anyway to just get a feel of this gentleman. And I thought, he's about quirky enough to be interesting, because if he was just really straightforward or whatever, it'd be kind of boring. And so I went and I asked him if I could come to his house, and he said yes. So I went to his house, and I rolled camera just to see how he looked and his mannerism and how the sound was. And I'd ask him all these questions, and he came up with these answers that were just quirky enough and interesting enough. And he seemed, to me, he was just a 72-year-old hippie. And he had a lot of stories to tell. And so then I said, I want to do a documentary on you, and pursued it from there.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to Nicholas, and he did Cannon Rock, and which was just an adventure in itself. You know, it was you really captured a lot of hearts with that one. Just, you know, what you go through. I mean, it was really nice. It was just. It was done simply and beautifully. I talked to your father earlier, and I know your background. You really have a classical music background, so I know that. But what was I mean, you're very young, and you were able to get all these team of animators to work with you, and you pulled it. You had to have such a drive to get this done. I mean, and why that particular piece of music to underscore it? I mean, why? I'll be quiet and let you talk. Sorry, just 20 questions. Just go. Sorry.
I think it's a little unfair to say I have too much of a classical music background. I don't think I'm really a musician in the way that some of these gentlemen are. I mean, I really enjoy it. And around the time that I first came up with the idea, it was really just for a class. We had this 1-week assignment that we were expected to make some kind of animation to music. You know, the expectation was to spend, a few hours and make something 5 seconds long. And I'd been playing this app that had a remix of the Canon in D in it. And, everyone's heard that song so many times. But something about this remix captured some emotion I hadn't got out of the more classical versions. And it just occurred to me that, wow, if you'd heard this when it was originally made, it must have felt this way. It must have been something that was truly invigorating in a way that now, we have a respect for it. It has a context in society, everyone knows it, but there was a time when it felt a little bit differently. And that kind of got me thinking about how these things must change over time. What does it mean in the modern day to reinterpret those kinds of parts of our musical heritage? And so I set out that week to make just kind of a remix of it, because there had been remixes in that vein before. And I drove myself insane making a 1-minute version in a single week, which is a lot in the animated world.
Yes, it is. Wow.
And then the next
And you did that in a week, okay.
Well, not that.
Yeah, right, but no, a 1-minute version, yes. A 1-minute version, no.
Yes,
but
yes.
still.
Yeah, well, let's just say I wouldn't be entering that version in this festival.
Okay.
But the next summer I'd run through a Kickstarter. I hadn't done it before, and spent a good long while thereafter trying to make it into something more than that, and I'm really glad that you seem to have enjoyed it.
Yes,
Makes it worthwhile.
yes. Yes, thank you. So, can we bring up the house lights, please? If you're still there, up there. Dave? Are the house lights even up? Okay. Well, I can take questions even without the house lights up. I can. Yeah, they'll be anonymous. There you go. There you go. Except I know you. We'll start with questions. Just anyone who would like to have any comments or questions to start. Yeah, yes, right over there.
I would like to compliment you on the flow of this film festival. I thought it was really beautifully done. There were some of the pieces that had a great deal of emotion, and you were able to keep it flowing and not let us get stuck in one place. That's how I felt in it, and I really applaud the flow. I thought it was just beautiful.
Well, thank you. I come back next year. Thank you very much. Yes.
I would like to ask Paul, you look very young, so were you in the military or was that personal?
I was not. I knew a few friends that were in the military, and they've shared some stories that inspired me for this one too.
Oh, okay. But I thought it was I thought it seemed to really come from you. So I was trying to relate whether or not that was personal.
It wasn't my personal experience, but shared experience from others.
Taking maybe somebody else's feelings and expressing them
Thank
in
you.
a very thoughtful way.
Thank you for liking it.
Yeah, I want to interject with that. It touched me. It affected me too. I had a really good friend of mine in Los Angeles who was an actor who studied at Juilliard. He was a Juilliard-trained actor who his father passed away right in Juilliard towards the end there, and he ran out of money. And as soon as Juilliard got over, in order to pay back his student loans, he joined the military, and he went into the Army right after Juilliard. And it was this. You're encouraged to be this individual, in Juilliard, you're trained to be an individual that your individual voice goes into creating something greater than all of us as when you're in that kind of training program. And then to go into the military world, and you are a lump sum, and you are play to win kind of thing, and it really messed him up. Really bad, actually, and he ended up sadly going to prison for a while for some bad things. But it was a struggle for him, and it brought me back to this because I could see that the military training, where you have to win, and then now he's trying to finish this piece. This gentleman who's never been trained in that. It's how the psychological feeling of that film, at least for me, was this man trying to finish the piece of his fallen soldier buddy, who he made fun of in the beginning, and he wants to complete it, but he really doesn't know how, and he's trying, and I just, it's again those two worlds kind of fighting each other, those two different, playing to win, giving back, take, giving back, and it was very nice. It was very, very nice. I rambled. I'm sorry. I have a tendency.
It's all good. It's all good.
Another question, anyone? Yes.
Yeah, that was really difficult and pretty unpleasant. Shoot. That was shot on the Hudson River in upstate New York in, I think in March. And it was actually a pretty warm day, but it was really windy, and it was kind of a far way to get all the equipment and crew and stuff there. So yeah, that was pretty physically taxing. The stuff where it's up higher too as well, that was kind of a hike, and the boat in the water as well was actually kind of challenging too. So yeah, it was not easy.
Worked out nicely.
It worked out very nicely. It was worth it. It was really well worth it.
Thank
Those
you.
shots were very beautiful. Now, where on, out of what town? I've been to New York, and I've been on the Hudson River. There's no mountain there.
Right, that mountain is Storm King. It's called Storm King, which is on the
Okay.
west side across from Beacon. And
I was wondering where you shot it.
yeah,
Okay.
that beach was called Cold Spring, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really looked like it really looked like you were going off into the river Styx, you know?
Yeah,
It- you-
it's what that's supposed to represent.
Right, it was pulled off very well. It was. Yes, sir.
It's a little abstract. I spent my career in physical science, and I was overwhelmed today with creativity across the board. But more than the fundamentals was just the creativity. I wonder if any of you have had an opportunity to talk with people who somehow made the switch from the science brain to the creativity brain. I don't see how that can be in another lifetime, but at least much longer, I would be able to do that. So I was so impressed. But you know, ever dealt with, or ever interviewed scientists in the past that do that?
If you were here on Friday, you could have met with Martin and had a wonderful conversation just about that, pretty much. And Martin Jarvis, who was with one of the films that we did, was called Written by Mrs. Bach, Broken Silence, and he was a forensic scientist. And creativity and science. I mean, it was. He rode that fine line, and the discussion was a lot about that. And you just missed out on that one. Yeah, there you go. Well, we actually may show that film again one day. Once they get distribution in the U.S., there was discussion of that. So you can come back. All right. But I'm sorry, but I didn't really open that up to any of you. Any of you have a science background or anything? Okay. Well,
I guess I come from more of a family that doesn't have as much of a creative background. I personally, I don't think was ever considering that path seriously. But that said, I think it's absolutely possible to make that switch. If you're familiar with a few years back, there's the movie and the book The Martian, right? And that fellow, he came from coding and just had this background. He made a book that was heavily grounded in real scientific phenomena. The movie this year, Arrival, had similar roots and linguistic principles. I think there's a way to see creativity as a means to make scientific ideas more engaging. And if you can view it with that lens, then you can bring to an audience that wouldn't usually be able to appreciate it a lot of aspects that you've gleaned from your career, a lot of logical thinking that can still be interesting in a creative context. And if you want to do that, then you should definitely think about it.
He's just saying that because he's got the engineers in the audience.
I mean, science and the arts are infused. I mean, they truly are. I mean, the Academy Awards has a whole section to, the advancements of film technology. We never get to see that part. We always just get the and this is what happened, and they got this award, okay, and moving on, And but I mean, there is a beautiful integration of that. And yes.
Is this a sideline for the four of you, or do any or all or some of you hope to make filmmaking your careers? All of you.
All at once, go.
This isn't optional.
Well, my day job is actually in the film industry. I work in lighting on television and feature films, which is, I've done that for about the past 12, 13 years. And it's also kind of been my film school in terms of learning to direct and write, and I'm hoping to eventually direct full time.
I'm interested in making film a career. So far, I'm a film teacher, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy inspiring students and whatnot with film. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to go to film school, but I think I just really love making it, and I want to have a career in it, hopefully in the future.
You're on your way.
And just make independent films. I think that's more of what I'm interested in.
Filmmaking and photography has been my passion all my life since I was a teenager. And I am a professional filmmaker for the last 15 years. And I specialize just in documentaries. And quite a compliment to you what you were saying, lighting, because I loved your lighting. I saw, nothing against your animation, but your lighting just to me,
Yeah,
like, boom.
it was really good,
It was
actually, yeah.
just fantastic, and you could see something there.
Well, that was actually, I have to credit my director of photography, Jeremy Rodriguez,
Okay, we'll
did the
credit
light.
him.
But yeah, but I knew him.
Well, you were in the room.
Yeah.
You were in the room when it happened.
Yeah, so that's just my passion and also my business at my young age, like these guys.
Well, as you can see, these guys are all very much into it, and I'm sick of it now. I also freelance animate, and having just finished a documentary myself, I can say I'm not planning to stop anytime soon. I don't think I could if I wanted to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that all of the films are fantastic, really watching different genres. But one that particularly resonated with me was Nicholas Dawkins. The Canon Rock was really interesting.
Thank you.
In that how you took classical, you look at something classical, guitar, rock, and particularly how the storyline drew you into the whole thing as well. So the animation, the work done with the animation, the facial, the story of the kid, there's lots of different things going on with dreams and outcast and rejection stuff. In such a small piece, there's a lot going on. So that was very interesting. Well done.
Oh, thank you very much. I have to give at least a bit of credit there to the remix that inspired me, which was kind of in a similar vein. This fellow Jerry C. made a well-regarded canon rock remix spelled with a C, and I looked into licensing that track. It's basically impossible, but when I listened to it, I kind of got a sense of a story through that music. I feel like a lot of the best classical music can do that, and so I'm glad if I can get something out from that. I don't want to take all the credit where it is not necessarily deserved, but I hope that that all classical music will do that at some level. I'm happy if I can translate that theme in some way.
That's why we have directors and choreographers to work with these amazing composers to bring those narratives out, and animators as well. And yes, and it's yeah, that's what it's all about. And that's why we're all here in this room today, really, to celebrate that. Which, by the way, thank you all for coming. Thank you. I mean, it's so nice to see this room with a bunch of faces. Thank you very, very much. Any more questions? Anyone up top? Anybody up there? I'm kind of looking, no, not up there. Okay, yes, right here.
Okay, so in the spirit of the gentleman back there, I have a question that doesn't belong here at this art conservatory at all,
That's all science-based?
Kramer.
Okay. Oh,
which is, when this gentleman, when the sculptor puts up the sculpture that's 30 or 40 feet tall, does a civil engineer look at that first to see if it's
That's a good question, I can answer that, yes. Yeah, that's a good thought, no one's asked me that before. Yes, they did, the city worked with him for over a year when he made it, and then the city gave him permission to put it there, the city wanted it there, the city just was behind him all the way. And so, yes, and they told him at one point, when they inspected it before it went up, they said, this is not gonna work, and he had a working model. And they said, no way, this is not gonna work, you can't stand up like that, even if you bolt it down. And then he turned the working model this way. Well, his sword, the sword went down, and it was a balancer, and no one saw that. And then he thought he was being funny, you know, and said, well, how about this? And yeah, so the whole thing was worked out really well. He was a very lucky man to get that done. And then they let him do another one in the same city, and another one in the same city. So he was very fortunate that the city loved him.
when was the Mondavi, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot, I don't know if you know the date of it, but I want to say I saw that exhibit at the Mondavi Winery with the cubism, with his display. Do you know what years?
No, I
those was?
don't.
Yeah,
No.
I feel like I saw it. Because I looked at, when I first saw the films, like, I've seen this stuff, where have I seen this?
Were you one of the ones that said, Sue, come here,
No,
look
yeah,
Were you that guy?
I don't know a Sue, but no, it wasn't me.
Oh, okay. But I'll find out. No,
I would be curious. I would be curious when that was installed there. Any other questions from everyone? Well, I want to thank you guys really for coming out here and for I mean, all 3 days has just been a whirlwind of wonderful loveliness, really, and having you guys here and bringing your films here, it's to our audience has just been really, really wonderful. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah. This really concludes our film festival for this year. We do have a ballet film where we'll be launching our ballet and opera film season starting tonight at 7 o'clock with Swan Lake from the Paris Opera Ballet. So if you are inclined to see some ballet tonight, we got it here for you at 7 o'clock. Thank you all for coming.